Gather around as I tell you another tall tale of pirate adventures.
The rescue of Captain Vance. The town of Blackwater Bay had never seen a celebration so grand. Flags bearing the seal of Governor Cedric Steele fluttered in the salty ocean breeze, and crowds gathered at the imposing fortress atop the hill. It was a day of triumph for the governor, a man feared by pirates and revered by law-abiding citizens. His promise to cleanse the seas of piracy had been solidified with the capture of one of the most infamous pirate captains in history, Captain Jonas Vance. Vance was no ordinary pirate. He was a tactician, a rogue, and a legend. His ship, the Knight's Wrath, had pillaged fleets, emptied treasuries, and defied every navy on the high seas. But his luck had finally run out. Betrayed by a trusted informant, Vance was ambushed at sea and brought in chains to Blackwater Fortress. Governor Steele made no secret of his plans for Vance. "At dawn, the pirate dies," he declared to roaring applause. But unbeknownst to Steele, Vance's crew was already planning a rescue so daring it would be spoken of for generations. The crew of the Knight's Wrath gathered in a hidden cove miles from Blackwater Bay. The second-in-command, Scarlet Red Harlow, took charge. She was a fiery woman with a sharp mind and an even sharper blade, and she commanded the respect of every pirate aboard. "We've faced worse odds before," Scarlet said, her voice steady as she addressed the crew. "They've locked up our captain, but they've made one fatal mistake. They left him alive long enough for us to save him." "What's the plan?" asked Big Jack, the ship's hulking quartermaster. Scarlet smirked. "Cunning and stealth. No cannon fire, no grand assault. We'll slip in like shadows, free the captain, and slip out before they know what's happened." The plan was laid out in detail. Blackwater Fortress was heavily guarded, but the crew had gathered intelligence from spies and informants. They knew the fortress had an underground tunnel leading to the docks, used to transport prisoners to waiting ships. That tunnel would be their way in. On a moonlight night, the rescue team set out in rowboats, cloaked in darkness. Scarlet led the way, with Big Jack, the sharp-eyed marksman Quinn, and the master lockpicker, known as Fingers. They approached the rocky cliffs below the fortress, where the hidden tunnel lay concealed behind a waterfall. The crew navigated the treacherous rocks, their boots slipping on the wet surface. Scarlet found the iron gate blocking the tunnel entrance and signaled Fingers to get to work. The wiry man produced a set of tools and worked with practiced ease. Within moments, the lock clicked open and the grate swung aside. The tunnel was damp and dark, its walls slick with moss. The crew moved silently, their torches casting faint glows that danced like ghosts. Every sound, the drip of water, the scuff of boots, seemed deafening in the confined space. As they neared the end of the tunnel, Scarlet held up a hand, signaling the group to stop. "Quinn," she whispered. "What do you see?" Quinn crept forward, peering around the corner. The tunnel opened into a dimly lit cell block, guarded by 2 soldiers playing cards at a rickety wooden table. 2 guards. "Easy pickings," Quinn replied. Scarlet nodded. "Take them out quietly." Quinn drew his throwing knives, his movements swift and precise. The knives struck their targets, and the guards slumped over before they could raise an alarm. The crew moved in, dragging the bodies out of sight. The crew navigated the cell block, their footsteps muffled against the stone floor. At the far end of the corridor, they found Captain Vance's cell. He sat on a wooden bench, his hands shackled and his expression calm, as if he had been expecting them. "About time," Vance said with a crooked grin. "I was starting to think I'd have to break out on my own." "Good to see your spirits are still high, Captain," Scarlet said, gesturing for Fingers to unlock the cell door. The lock clicked open, and Vance stepped out, flexing his wrists. "I hope you brought something sharp," he said. Big Jack handed Vance a cutlass, and the captain twirled it with practiced ease. "Now, let's get out of here before Steele realizes what's happened." The crew retraced their steps through the tunnel, but their luck took a turn when an alarm bell rang out above. A patrol must have found the bodies of the guards. Within moments, the fortress was in chaos, soldiers pouring into the cell block to intercept the intruders. "Run!" Scarlet shouted, leading the charge back through the tunnel. The narrow passage became a battlefield as soldiers pursued them. Quinn picked them off with his throwing knives, while Big Jack used his brute strength to block their path by toppling a stack of barrels. Vance fought alongside them, his cutlass flashing as he dispatched anyone who got too close. The crew burst out of the tunnel and into the open air, where the rowboats waited. Soldiers lined the fortress walls above, firing muskets down at them. Scarlet barked orders, and the crew returned fire, covering each other as they clambered into the boats. The row back to the Knight's Wrath was harrowing, musket balls splashing into the water around them, but the crew's skill and determination saw them through. As they reached the ship, the rest of the crew opened fire on the pursuing soldiers, forcing them to retreat. Governor Steele stood on the ramparts of Blackwater Fortress, his face a mask of fury as he watched the Knight's Wrath sail away. The pirate captain he had worked so hard to capture was free, and his humiliation was complete. "Send word to every ship in the Navy," Steele roared. "I want that pirate hunted to the ends of the earth. This is war." Steele's hatred for pirates burned brighter than ever, but Captain Vance and his crew had already melted into the open sea, their daring escape cementing their place as legends of the high seas. The rescue of Captain Vance became the stuff of legend, told in whispers in coastal taverns and sung in shanties by sailors. Scarlet, Quinn, Big Jack, and Fingers were celebrated for their bravery and cunning, and Vance's reputation as an uncatchable rogue grew even greater. For Governor Steele, the escape was a bitter reminder that no matter how much order he tried to impose, the seas would always belong to those bold enough to claim them. And so the Knight's Wrath sailed on, its crew united and unbroken, ready for the next adventure that awaited them on the horizon.